Did you know that beneath your feet, the earth is always moving? Giant cracks, seemingly invisible, are the cause of the most terrifying disasters in history. But what causes them to form? And can humanity learn any lessons from those tragedies? Join me as we explore the 10 longest cracks on Earth and the deadly mysteries they hide. What if the entire city of Los Angeles were torn apart in minutes? The San Andreas could do it. The San Andreas is the boundary between two giant tectonic plates, the Pacific and North American plates. They slide past each other, building up energy for hundreds of years until they explode in devastating earthquakes. The last time, in 1906, San Francisco was nearly wiped out. But that's not the scariest part. Scientists warn of a big one earthquake that could destroy all of Southern California, affecting millions of people. Although earthquake warning systems and construction have improved, nature is always one step ahead of us. Are we ready for the big one? Did you know that Istanbul is a ticking time bomb that could explode at any moment? North Anatolia is where the Arabian and Eurasian plates collide, creating enormous pressure underground. The 1999 Izmit earthquake killed more than 17,000 people, but the danger is not over. Istanbul, a city of more than 15 million people, sits directly on this fault line and is predicted to experience a major earthquake within the next 30 years. Although Turkey has made efforts to improve its infrastructure since the 1999 disaster, rapid urbanization still leaves millions of people at risk. Would you believe that a fault could tear an entire island like New Zealand in two? Located along the South Island of New Zealand, the Alpine Fault is one of the world's most dangerous geological faults, formed by the collision of two giant tectonic plates, the Pacific and the Indo-Australian. According to scientists, this fault moves about 3 centimeters every year, accumulating huge amounts of energy and releasing it in the form of powerful earthquakes.
One of the most serious disasters caused by this fault was the Christchurch earthquake in 2011, which killed more than 180 people and destroyed many buildings.
Although New Zealand has become a pioneer in earthquake-resistant construction, with the increasing activity of the Alpine Fault, no one can be sure of absolute safety. Could a major earthquake happen in the near future? And if so, how terrible will the consequences be? Can you imagine a day when the African continent is torn in two and a whole new ocean is born? This is not science fiction, but a geological process that is happening right now. The East African Rift is the boundary where the Somali and Nubian plates are slowly moving apart. Scientists say this process could take millions of years, but the first signs are already showing. Huge cracks have been recorded in Kenya and Ethiopia, some tens of kilometers long, tearing the ground apart and threatening the region's infrastructure. Volcanic eruptions and earthquakes are common, signaling large-scale geological changes in the future. Although the rate at which Africa is breaking apart is slow, it is a reminder that the Earth is constantly moving. Humans are just guests on this planet, and nature always has a way of reshaping the world in its own way. Could we witness the day when a new ocean is born right in the heart of Africa? A seemingly peaceful frozen land, but underneath lurks a giant monster, just waiting for the right moment to explode. The Denali Fault, the largest geological system in Alaska, is where the North American and Pacific tectonic plates continuously collide and slide against each other. This displacement has accumulated a huge amount of energy underground, and when it is released, the consequences can be extremely devastating. The clearest proof is the terrible earthquake in 2002 with a magnitude of 7.9 on the Richter scale, which shook the whole of Alaska. Roads were torn apart, bridges collapsed, the ground cracked as if torn by an invisible force. Although this area is sparsely populated, danger still lurks. One of the most important projects in the United States, the Trans-Alaska Oil Pipeline, lies right on this deadly fault. If a powerful earthquake were to occur, it could trigger an unprecedented environmental disaster, leaking millions of barrels of oil into the frozen wilderness of Alaska. Is the underground monster still dormant, or is it just waiting for the right moment to awaken again? More than 11,000 meters below the surface, where no light can reach, what awaits us? The Mariana Trench, the deepest part of the Earth, was formed when the Pacific Plate was pulled beneath the Philippine Plate in a process called subduction. But it's not just darkness and immense pressure that prevail here. It's also massive geological forces at work. The shifting tectonic plates not only shape this deep trench, but also cause undersea earthquakes, sometimes powerful enough to trigger tsunamis that devastate the coasts of Japan and Pacific Islands. They can sweep away everything in their path at terrifying speeds, and most terrifyingly, tsunamis are almost impossible to predict. So, tracking the movements of the ocean floor is not just a scientific expedition, it's a life-or-death mission to protect the millions of people who live near the coast. But the question remains, what lies beneath these dark depths that we have yet to discover? Did you know that the site of the most powerful earthquake in human history is still quietly building up energy for the next disaster? The Valdivia Fault, the boundary where the Nazca Plate slowly slides under the South American plate, is one of the most dangerous seismic regions on the planet. Every year, this process causes huge amounts of energy to be trapped underground, just waiting for a fateful moment to explode. In 1960, Chile was hit by the most powerful earthquake ever recorded, measuring 9.5 on the Richter scale. The ground shook violently, buildings fell like dominoes, and the city of Valdivia was almost leveled. But the disaster didn't stop there. A 25-meter-high tsunami crashed ashore before continuing its deadly journey as far as Japan and the Philippines, causing terrible damage more than 17,000 kilometers from the epicenter. More than 60 years on, scientists warn that the Valdivia Fault is still gathering energy, and another quake could strike at any time. Chile has become a model for disaster preparedness, with its tsunami warning system and high-strength structures. But when it comes to the power of nature, nothing is certain. Will another megaquake strike? And if so, how devastating will the consequences be this time? In just a few hours, a crack in the ocean floor has claimed more than 230,000 lives. And it's not over yet. Hidden deep beneath the Indian Ocean, the Sunda Megathrust Fault is one of the most dangerous tectonic boundaries on the planet. It's where the Indo-Australian Plate is pushed beneath the Sunda Plate, creating enormous pressures that have built up over centuries. And when that energy is released, disaster strikes. On December 26, 2004, one of the most powerful earthquakes in history, measuring 9.1 on the Richter scale, shook the ocean floor. But the horror didn't stop there. Within minutes, tsunamis more than 30 meters high had hit the shores of Indonesia, Thailand, Sri Lanka, India, and many other countries. Entire cities were wiped out. Hundreds of thousands of people were swept away, and in one fateful morning, more than 230,000 lives were lost to the sea. Although the 2004 disaster has passed, the Sunda Megathrust Fault is not yet at peace. Scientists warn that the area is still accumulating energy, and a similar earthquake and tsunami could occur in the near future. Since that tragedy, the world has deployed more advanced tsunami warning systems, but many coastal areas are still not adequately protected. Do we have enough time to prepare before the next disaster strikes? A peaceful lake in the middle of icy Siberia, but underneath lurks a giant rift, one that could tear the continent apart and create a new ocean. Located on the Baikal Rift Zone fault system, the North Baikal Fault is where the Eurasian Plate is slowly stretching. Over time, the land will continue to expand, and in millions of years, a new ocean could form, making Lake Baikal the starting point of a giant inland sea. Although the process is slow, warning signs are already appearing. Many small and medium-sized earthquakes have been recorded around Lake Baikal, sometimes strong enough to shake lakeside communities. It is a reminder that beneath its placid surface, the Earth is constantly changing. The planet's transformation is unstoppable. While these changes may not happen in our lifetimes, they will reshape the world map in the long run. The question is not if, but when. Could you survive a magnitude 7 earthquake if everything around you collapsed? Hidden deep beneath the Earth, the Enriquillo Plantain Garden Fault is where the Caribbean and North American plates slide past each other. Every year, this slow movement builds up enormous energy, and when it's released, disaster strikes. On January 12, 2010, Haiti was rocked by a magnitude 7.0 earthquake. In a matter of seconds, the capital, Port-au-Prince, was reduced to rubble. More than 200,000 people died, 1.5 million were left homeless, and an already fragile nation was thrown into further crisis. But the tragedy was not just the force of nature. Weak buildings, poor earthquake standards, outdated infrastructure, and lack of preparedness left Haiti vulnerable to the earthquake. This was not just a geological disaster, it was a social one. Earthquakes don't kill people. Collapsed buildings do. The lesson from Haiti remains: investing in resilient infrastructure, early warning systems, and disaster response capabilities is paramount. Because with nature, we can't prevent disasters, but we can determine the extent of their devastation. These giant cracks are not only the boundaries between tectonic plates, but also a bitter reminder of human fragility in the face of the infinite power of nature. We cannot prevent earthquakes, volcanoes, or tsunamis, but we can learn, prepare, and build a safer future. Don't wait until disaster strikes to act. By then, it may be too late. If you find this video useful and want to continue exploring the creepy mysteries of the Earth, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the Storm Journey channel. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next videos.